Trader.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. We're finally live. Had a lot of technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on with YouTube today. Luckily, Chris is here to figure it out. So thank you, Chris. Just some pre-Christmas technical difficulties. Just to go along with all the insanity happening in the market. I mean, we had the Fed come out yesterday and Powell did his thing, his little dance. And what happened? The market exploded higher. We talked about this last week. I told you guys, look, the market looks like it wants higher. It's going to go higher. This shouldn't be a surprise. TRI breath, it's been long since November 2nd. We're going to go over that because if you are not part of the breath, you're missing out on massive performance. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's going on with the reverse repo facilities. We're going to talk about what's going on in investor sentiment. Something big is happening in investor sentiment land. We got to talk about that. It's important to pay attention to it. Crypto fear and greed, how the Santa rally is full on this year. A lot of people did not expect it to happen, but it's happening. All right, I'm going to shrink myself. You don't care about my face. You care about what's going on in the market. Hopefully you guys have had a great week. Good to see everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll see everyone pile in. Oh, Soar is here. Wow. This is a special occasion. I've never seen Soar talk in one of my streams. Hello, Soar from the Netherlands. Glad to see you here. Very nice profile picture, by the way. Very professional. All right, I'm going to shrink myself. Sorry, I'm ridiculous. All right, here we go. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller. Extra small today. Elf size. Look at this. I'm so small down here. Hello. All right, let's get rid of this. And let's look at what's going on in the market. So check this out. Let's start with investor sentiment right here. I mean, 51.3% bullish. The 1 year high is 51.4%. That happened in, what month is this? July. So not since July have we been this insanely bullish and only 19.3% bearish. Crazy. This should be a big red flag because if we look at historical sentiment, right? Bullish 51.3%. The last time we were that high was July 19th. And what happened to the market soon after that? If we go to a daily chart here and we make things a lot bigger and more clear and we go back to July, here's July, right? So I said July 19th, right? Right like that. And here, where's July 19th? July 19th was right here. So we went a little bit higher and then we topped out about a week and a half later. Something to keep in mind. Okay, we're getting close to that point. Here's my level, right? So last week I talked about this being a big breakout, and I expected us to head higher, and I was closing any short positions I had. I was getting out because I knew this was going to happen. And the breath had been telling us to be long since breath told us, the TRI breath said to get long all the way down here. November 2nd. November 2nd. I'm going to talk about that later. I'm going to show you guys, if you'd follow the breath, how much you would be up if you just use the 3 times ETF. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. The big thing here is I wanted to show you how I looked at the range expansion. So here we have a range, right, from basically the end of November all the way till the first week of December. And I looked at that kind of range expansion and we looked at different extension levels. 1.618 was right here. Actually, I would compress this a little bit more just to bring these levels in. Here's that 1.618 tag. Here's my midpoint of a massive channel. We can look at that channel in a second. Here's the 2.618 tag. And then here's Powell pushing price way higher. And look at how we basically tagged the 4.669 extension level. So this was my upper level that I was expecting us to tag. Now here's our ascending parallel channel that's been, following this entire rally. We did fall out of it here at one point, but we came back in. So assuming this is the same parallel channel, you can see how price respected the levels around here. And we've got two zones here. We've got 42,740, and then we've got our full extension of our original level, where does this original level come from? If this is, actually I want to get rid of this. I feel like it's a little bit confusing. I'm going to get rid of that. And my red lines are important levels that I have. So this was a big level that we just hit. The only higher level is up here at 4,900. And the question is, do we exceed that? Do we go above our all-time highs from back in January 2022? Over about a year and a half ago now, right? Almost 2 years. It's going to be 2 years soon. That's the big question that's on everyone's mind. And so far, let me get rid of, I want to actually just hide some of these lines. I don't want to get rid of them necessarily because these are important on lower time frames. So we're going to go to visibility. We're just going to take them off the daily chart. And that way we can go to a daily chart and we can look at what's going on. I actually want to look at a 12-hour really quick. Yeah, but daily. So you see this daily, we don't have any kind of divergence with RSI. Absolutely nothing. Price looks quite strong here. And although we've hit that first initial expansion target, there is possibility that this is just an ABCD. And this is your next move, right up to 5,000. And then we take out those old highs. There's no reason why that can't happen. Now, this is surprising that this is happening. I'm surprised, but not surprised all at the same time. Because I thought that they would trick everyone and not do the Santa rally this year and we'd roll over. But once this breakout happened, and I talked about this last week, I said, look, we're going to head higher for sure. It's going higher. You can go check last week's show. And nothing changes now. It looks like as long as we're staying above this 4-hour trend line on RSI and stochastic is bullish, there's no reason why we can't head higher from here. If this does start breaking down, then we could get a pullback. But these 3-day and weekly charts, I mean, this weekly chart looks very bullish. We do have a 7 coming in, so this may have to slow down soon. But for now, it looks like quite the bull rally. Even so, you have like a bit of an ABCD here, right? All the way up to, again, around that 4,900, 5,000 level. Market looks very strong. My only concern is, again, this sentiment, investor sentiment, really bullish, almost too bullish. That's a concern to me. So I would be cautiously optimistic. Crypto greed also 72. We're not in super greed territory. It's not the same as the stock market. Stock market 51.3% that's very high. And that concerns me. And this weekly could turn into a divergence, right? Because price RSI is lower than this previous one. So we've got price making a higher high, and we have RSI not making a higher high yet. So you do have that divergence happening there on a weekly chart. And really in this kind of expansion, you need to pay attention to these higher time frames. That's what you need to watch and be concerned with, because until they start to turn, the stream is just heading up. Let's say, I mean, I like to refer to things as like a stream. So you're either fighting against the stream or with the stream. And right now, the stream is full steam ahead, going in the bullish direction. You don't want to fight that. You just have to look for setups on the long side. Don't try to take shorts here. Don't try to beat the market. You're not going to. You're not going to. There's no point in being a little tiny fit. You're basically, everyone's a little minnow. You're a minnow. Do you guys know what a minnow is? A minnow is a super tiny, small fish, and you are trying to swim upstream against a massive current. That's what you're trying to do if you're trying to short this market. So stick with the bull trend. Buy on pullbacks until on something like a weekly chart, the trend is broken. Right now there's possible slowdown, but on a daily, it's incredibly strong. And I don't really see the chance for much of a pullback. I mean, you did hit, like I said, that 4.669 level from the expansion of this range. We could oscillate in this zone before heading higher. We do have that 51.3% bullish sentiment, which is, basically the all-time high bullish sentiment level, which is historically matched with the market kind of doing something like this, a little bit higher and then rolling over. that's something we have to watch for. But until we start seeing this and divergence and RSI, you can't jump on the short side too fast. You have to be cautious. Of course, I can go to lower time frames, right? And I can look at something like an hourly, but the hourly, even the hourly, this is what it looks like for me with RSI. This is your uptrend. I don't see anything to tell me that, you know, this is over yet. Can still keep heading higher. So that's, hopefully that makes sense with the S&P. I'm going to pull up, let's look at the options really quick. Let's see what's going on in options land. So right now, tomorrow is the 15th. That's the weekly expiry. And your max pain is about 4,600. And we're at 4,724. Wow, look at that. So we're all the way up here. Look at all these calls. It's actually a lot of calls. I'm surprised that we moved this far. Going into tomorrow, I could see us pulling back just because there's this many calls, and it would make sense for the market to pull back to basically about here. Just a small pullback to get those calls to expire worthless. So that's something I would keep in mind, is that you could get a small pullback just going into that options expiry. Little interesting tidbit. Reverse repo, we always talk about every week, so I'm just going to touch on it. Yeah, look, nothing's changing with reverse repo. It's decelerated since December 1st. There hasn't been much of a change. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's because the Fed is not hiking rates anymore, so they're just stagnating, and money has kind of stopped moving around. I'm impressed that the market continues to head higher in the face of the fact that this is not heading lower. That money is not being taken out of the reverse repo and put into other areas of the market. It's just sitting here. Sorry guys, I'm eating I have pomelo again. I don't know if you remember what this is. It's like a citrus fruit. Amazing. One of my favorite things in Thailand. That's reverse repo. If we look at the Forex calendar, we had FOMC yesterday, right? And what do we have the rest of the week here? ECB press conference. And tomorrow, do we have anything tomorrow? Manufacturing index, PMI. I think it's all going to come in line. I don't think there's going to be any big surprises going into the end of the year. I think it's going to be kind of the same stuff. Yeah, I've tried lychees, Fuzzy. I've tried them. It's pretty sweet, a bit too sweet for me. I prefer the more citrusy fruits. And well, I love durian. I'm not gonna lie. Durian, everybody thinks it smells bad. It's terrible. You need to try durian. It's amazing. I think it's the greatest thing. It's not that healthy for you, but I think it's better than anything from a package. I love it. All right, so what is my final opinion on the S&P and where are we gonna go? I think it has more room to run. I don't see a big slowdown yet. My concern is that investor sentiment is very bullish. So I'm cautiously optimistic. We're extremely overbought on these lower time frames. There's room for a pullback that would hurt the options market. So you could get a bit of something like this could happen. You get a bit of a pullback and then you move higher. I don't see why they wouldn't go for this like 5,000. Why not go for that BFRN? We say BFRN. You guys can guess what that means. I don't see why that wouldn't happen. I'm trying to see, is there anything that could cause this market to reverse? But it just seems like full on bull mode, honestly. I mean, look at the DXYs getting crushed. US dollar just destroyed here. This weekly really needs to reverse for there to be any chance of this market reversing at all. But as of right now, it's just like down only, right? Look at that. This needed to cross over. That was what I was looking for. It didn't happen. It got rejected. It basically just rejected. So it's heading lower for now. You do have a 7 that came in, and stochastic looks terrible. And delete some of these lines. Actually, I don't think we need all of this. We're still in my parallel channel uptrend of the US dollar. So interesting to watch. We do have a 7 coming in. Traditionally, when a TD 7, 8, or 9 comes in, you do get some kind of reversal. You can see all the previous instances where you get some kind of reversal. So maybe in 2 weeks, well, once we're in the new year, maybe we get that reversal and the US dollar rallies again. The rest of the market kind of rolls over. Possible scenario. Definitely hurts, especially since I was about to convert a bunch of money into Japanese yen, and the yen keeps gaining strength against the US dollar. Or so it should be like this. That would give you a better perspective of how it's kind of gaining. So I'm a little bit annoyed about that, but you know, it happens. Bitcoin, we can talk about, I'm going to talk about 1 or 2 stocks. I'm going to look at a couple, and then I think we can jump into Bitcoin. I'm going to look at, what do you guys want to look at? Is there any, we'll talk about the big 7 tech stocks. Do you guys want to look at any in particular? I'm going to look at NVIDIA first because everybody seems to love that. But if you guys want to look at any other big tech stocks, we can take a quick peek at that. Right now, it looks like Tesla was looking pretty bearish originally back here in October, and now November it's kind of crossed over, and it's looking bullish again. It looks like it wants to W out and head higher. I mean, imagine if this is like a ABCD, something like this. Like, I'm gonna do a conservative one, and NVIDIA ends up basically going up here to 730. That would be nuts. I don't think anybody would really expect that. That would be crazy. If we go to a 3-day, right? See how actually I don't like the 3-day. We'll go to a daily, but you can see on the daily how we were basically pretty bearish here and looking like we could roll over, and then we just pushed higher on the other side during November, and now we're kind of looking like we want to head higher, but it's still at the same time in a range. AE, Chris asked for AE. That is not a mag 7. You gotta pick one of the top 7 stocks, tech stocks, that I can look at. I'm looking at NVIDIA now, but then we'll look at another one. AMD. I'm not sure if that's a top 7. Is it? I mean, I can look at it. From this perspective, actually, RSI would still be considered below the trend line right here. Top 70, PayPal. But yeah, I think for NVIDIA, it is looking like it wants to W out and head higher. I mean, it's still above this 50-day moving average right here. This is bullish. I would be careful with trying to short this until we really need to watch the weekly chart. And I really wanted to see this break down below the VIP line, and it just hasn't. It hasn't. It's just stagnating here, and I would be careful trading it. I wouldn't take trades on either side. Let's look at Soar suggested PayPal. Okay, we'll look at PayPal. Fine. PayPal looks interesting. Like, it's kind of bottoming here. Look at that. This bottoming wedge formation, and the weekly chart is heading higher. I mean, if this is your downtrend area, right? Like this. And you've got your push through on the weekly. This looks pretty strong. Pushing through the 50 area is actually not bad at all. You see this lower time frames. 3-day did hit a 9, but the daily chart looked decent. This would have been a buy right about here, and now it's already at 63. I would wait for a bit of a pullback and then maybe pull the trigger on a long, but the weekly chart, I mean, it looks strong. It looks strong, ironically. I want to see a W, though. I want to see something like a bit of a pullback and then a push through. Once you're pushed through here, you could buy here, set your stops below here, and then you've got your trade to push higher. Let's assume something like that would happen. And what would okay, Google. Yes, we need to look at Google. Wow, 26 people. All right, guys, participate. We'll keep going if people are participating. I won't cut it off. Normally we cut it off at like 30 minutes, but maybe we'll go a little bit longer. Maybe people enjoy seeing me eat the pomelo. But I like when you guys participate, and I hate like cutting it off when we have like 30 people. Sorry, eating too much. I told myself I would not eat the pomelo while doing the stream, but I'm doing it. Hi Ed, welcome. Yeah, so if we look at a weekly chart of PayPal, it's looking pretty good. And if we go to a daily, we want to see this, some kind of W happen here. I want to see a pullback and some kind of expansion. But the question is, where would we head to? Like, where would PayPal go to if we broke out of this pattern? If we look at the previous levels, so 0.86 and 786 are actually like my long levels. If we look at the range, right? So here's your entire range for PayPal. Your buy levels are actually right where we are right now. And if you get an expansion from this, if you get a breakout higher, your sell zone, if I reverse, I'm going to actually draw different fibs. So if this was your top, and then this was your bottom down here, your sell zone would be up here, 78.6 and 61.8. And that, like, this would be your trade. You assume you buy, you can get a little bit of a better buy. You set your stop below the lows, right? That's easy. And your target, you could have multiple targets. You could even just set one at 38.2, 150. That's a 9-to-1 risk reward ratio, 160% return. That's huge. That's great. If you really want to shoot for the fence, you'd go to 61.8. That's your 268% return. I mean, imagine if that happens. That could happen and then drive the S&P to 5,000 and everything. That could, I don't see why that couldn't happen. So, you know, there's one. You just got to wait for that pullback. I could see another little bit of a reversal. Okay, so let's look at Intel or Google. What do you guys want to look at? If I can get two people to pick one, then we'll talk about it. Intel or Google, and then we'll go into crypto. I'm gonna eat a little bit more pomelo while you guys are answering. Intel or Google? Well, I know, Ahmed, you want Intel. Oh, another vote for Intel. Okay, so that's Google. Zen voted Google. So we've got two Googles, two Intels. Which one? Which one are we're gonna go for? Intel or Google? It might be up to me. The choice might be mine if nobody says anything. 10 seconds. I'm gonna wait, because it's gonna be at least 5 minutes of analysis. All right. The person with the name I cannot pronounce has made the final decision. It's Google. We're gonna have to look at Google. Maybe we'll do both. We could just do both. Okay, GOOG, Alphabet. Ooh. Ooh. This looks ugly, actually. Looking at this without any indicators. Hello, Oleg. Sorry, you just have interesting characters that I can read. But hello, welcome. This looks like a interesting M top on Google. Really ugly. Look at this weekly. Look at that. This is very bearish looking. This doesn't look nearly as good as the other stocks. Wow. Holy crap. I'm surprised to see this. So if this is your M top, this is your little bit of range expansion here. 4.669 would put you down back at the lows at $90. I don't like the way Google looks here at all. Even this daily looks like crap. I think this is a short, honestly. For me, this is a short. You basically had your rally. This is your distribution. How long did let me see how much time did it take? Date range. I always like to look at the date. So the rally kind of topped out here. So it took you 190, we'll say here, 180 days. And then how long has the distribution been going on? Usually they're about equal. So distribution's just 100 days. We could need this much more time. But as of right now, I mean, RSI is useless on these daily time frames. But on a weekly, this thing looks like a short. I would do another, just fib, simple fibs. And oops, gotta go this way. Like that. And I would just look at it down to 61.8 and 78.6. I mean, 200 week moving average is a good point. Here's the 200-day moving average. Once that breaks down, you know you really have a decent short opportunity. But this on the weekly is a good indicator of a place to take profits. And you can see how last time it came into the 200-day moving average, it acted like a bit of a support. So let's say that you shorted it right now, right here. and you put your stop right above the highs, of course. And your target was basically just the 200-day. It's not the best risk reward. 1.84. It's barely a 2-to-1. I don't like it. If Google can rally back up here and you can lower your stop and then bring it back down to that 200-day, then you get a 5-to-1 risk reward. That's a much better trade. So I would want to get into a short up here at like 138. At 132, the risk reward ratio just isn't there for me. I mean, if it can get all the way down here, fine, it's 3-1. But you still have like an 8% loss you're going to get hit with if you're wrong. And probably worse, way worse if you're in options land. So not a big fan of the current price. If it can rally a bit, I would consider a short opportunity on this. I mean, it doesn't look good to me. All right, since so many people voted for Intel, we might as well look at it too. INTC, yeah. Wow. Intel looks great. What the hell happened here? Why didn't you guys ask about Intel like 3 weeks ago? Back in October, somebody should have asked about Intel. Yeah, huge breakout. Here's your W. Look at this W here. I can go to a daily. On a daily, it's kind of ugly. But this is basically your W, and you had a W down here too. I mean, if you look, just use this right here, right? That's your, reverse it, style, reverse. Like that. That's basically your, you can see how you had a 1.618 tag, 2.618 tag, and now we're heading for that 4.669 at 51, which is going to be your major resistance area. I mean, for me, Intel was a buy down here, right here in this zone. I mean, if we look at a right here, this is kind of your crossover, and you would have looked at RSI like this. And once we're on the other side, this was basically your, this would have been your optimal trade entry right here, $25 on February 2023. I think there were a lot of stocks that performed way better than this. You could have also entered right here if you looked at a daily chart. This could have been a decent entry, even on like a 4-hour something. I mean, this is kind of all over the place. I don't like how this RSI looks, but it would have been an entry around here. Unfortunately, earnings was coming out, so that would have been difficult. But if you were determined and you believed in Intel, this move up here would have been your long opportunity, and you could have, you know, if this was your stop below those lows, and then your target, if you drew that 4.669, your target would be up here. So then you get a 3.6-to-1 risk reward ratio. It's not a bad trade, not amazing, but that's what you would have done at this point. I wish. Okay, it should be back. I hit my mic and messed it up. Sorry. It's the cord. I got way too excited talking about this. So look, Intel, I wouldn't touch it. I don't have anything. This is already gone. The level it's gonna hit is 50. That's a BFRN. I think you're way too late to this trade, and I would avoid it like the plague. That's my opinion. I've talked about a couple stocks really quick. So like Tupperware, I'm watching on a weekly chart. It looks like it's trying to reverse here. I think it looks pretty good. I've showed that this is the possible ABCD extension target to $6. I'm watching it on these lower time frames, daily chart. It looks good to me on a daily chart. I own a good amount of Tupperware. I bought back a bunch after selling originally all the way up here at $5 and $6 after buying at like $1. Thank you, Cotter. I guess he's not here. But I like how NVIDIA is looking here. I mean, we're above the 200-day moving average. We formed a nice bottom. We've got good W's that have come in. This is basically your expansion level that we're going to expand out from. And 4.669 puts us at $4, which is a double from here. And RSI is broken out. Stochastic looks good. The weekly is above the VIP level, pushing higher. There's all the signs here that this should head higher. So this is one that I actually really like. And I think even at the current level is a decent buy, like right here. And you set your stop right below the lows. Target up here. So it's a 3-to-1 risk reward. Not the best buy, but I bought down here $1.70, $1.80, this area. Right, once we started breaking out, I started buying here, 80, $1.90, that kind of thing. And my stop is basically down here at $1.40. So if we get stopped out, I lose like 30%. It's fine, but if it works, I get 100% return. So that's a good risk reward to me, and all of the momentum indicators look great. So this is one that, you know, I kind of talk about pretty often, but it's finally showing a decent setup. So that's one I like. I've been watching this one, NAS Technology. It's a charging company, a Chinese charging company. I know Brian doesn't like Chinese companies, and that's fine. That's understandable. I don't know if this is a great, probably not the best buy. I'm waiting for this daily chart to go on the other side, but possibly at this level, it's a decent buy. I mean, this is your, if you just set your stop right below these lows right here, and you put your target all the way up here at this 200-day moving average, it's 171% return, 15 to 1 risk reward is not bad. I mean, you could even set it at this 50-day moving average and you're still at a 3.68 to 1 risk reward. I like it. I'm watching it. So that's another one. I like it. Blink, I keep talking about Blink charging, right? So I talked about it a couple times where Blink charging looks decent. Like it's ready to do another leg, move another leg higher. So there's your first leg, and here's your second leg, all the way up to this 200-day moving average. Potential W, a nice W forming here, potential breakout. Weekly chart is not amazing, but it's not bad either. Stochastic looks good. Daily, I really like. If we go to a 4-hour chart, I mean, you can see how this daily is pushing higher. This is what I needed to see, was this push higher. It was really a good buy down here, but even here, it's not bad. Assuming, you know, you're going to get that ABCD move to the upside. If you can get that right here like this, let's say we can get that move up to like basically 495. Even at this level, you say your stop right below the lows, get your move up to that 495. It's a 50% return, 2.8 to 1 risk reward. It's not bad. That's another one that I'm watching pretty closely. So there you go. Those are my little stocks I'm watching. We're about 32 minutes in. I'm going to talk about a little bit of crypto, and then we'll go to the after party, and we'll do, you know, any little tiny shit coins you guys want to talk about. We will talk about all. We can shit coin for the next hour, maybe 40 minutes. I'm not going to stay up that late. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin really quick before we call it a night, at least on the public show, and talk about where might Bitcoin be going. So I looked at a daily chart of Bitcoin, and this was the range and then the expansion, and you can see how we hit that 1.618. We paused at that 2.618, and it even used it as a bounce level. And I'm going to get rid of, actually, I know I've got a lot of lines in this chart that could be confusing to you guys. And our 4.669 level is at 47,000. We haven't hit that yet. We kind of pulled back and we're oscillating in this zone. I actually think if I look at the TRI breath's been kind of all over the place, but still, it's still up with Bitcoin. So right now, the breath is actually in a short trade. That concerns me a little bit. And it looks like there is potential on the daily for Bitcoin to break down. So there is that moderate concern. On the weekly, it's very overbought. Extremely stochastic, super bullish. We look at a monthly. Let's go to a monthly really quick. Monthly looks great. It really does. I mean, I know a lot of people are super crazy bullish on Bitcoin right now, but it makes sense because this monthly chart looks very, very, very strong. Actually, I want to move that up a little bit and then lock it again. Yeah, this monthly looks very strong. And stochastic, extremely strong on the monthly. So that's what I mean again with like us going down upstream. Basically, upstream would be bullish. And if you're a minnow, you don't want to fight against a stream. So look for long opportunities. Don't really look for short opportunities because you're going to get burned. But on these lower time frames, and yeah, in a way, a daily could be considered a lower time frame. It doesn't look amazing. It really doesn't with the momentum indicators. So, you know, be careful. I wouldn't use any crazy leverage because you never know when you can just get a random dump and you'll get destroyed. So that's what I recommend, mainly to avoid the leverage, and hold your longs until you see something breaking with like a weekly chart. Right now the weekly looks fine. Even a 3-day you could watch, and the 3-day is like this, right? So there's your 3-day. No breakdown yet, but it looks like it's getting close. We did hit a 9, right? So it makes sense we've got a bit of a pullback. Breath is in a short, so tough to say. I like to look at the when I don't have a clear signal from Bitcoin, I sometimes like to look at the total crypto chart, and you can see with the total we hit the 50% level right on the nose. We're right at the 50%, so this could be a major resistance zone going forward. And that might be why price is kind of stagnating here, but we haven't really rolled over yet. I want to see, I'm going to actually set an alert on this to see if we ever roll over with the total RSI, because if we do, that's a red flag for the whole market. So something I'm watching. I don't like how RSI is looking here, and we've got these divergences building, right? Like that. Major divergence here on the daily chart. So that doesn't make me feel good and makes me want to be a little bit more cautious. Okay, that's kind of all I'm going to talk about on crypto for the public one. I will talk about Ethereum, Link, a couple other like lower coins and some shit coins, an Afterparty. So if you're not a member, consider signing up, join the free trial, whatever. It doesn't cost really anything. And then you can join in the Afterparty and ask any question you want, and I'll happily talk about them. We go over coins every week for at least 30 minutes to an hour. The one other thing I didn't talk about that I wanted to was the breadth data. I updated the breadth with the most recent data. So if you see here, this is our SPXL and SPXS breadth data starting from March 2022, all forward tested, by the way. And these are all of our trades. And here's the last breadth signal. And you can see this is a portfolio if you started with 10K, where it would be at from following these signals. And this was the last signal, bull signal, on November 2nd. And if you were holding to now, the portfolio would be at 89,000. So huge jump of $21,000, massive return, 32. I think this is percentage. Yeah. So one of our biggest percent gains that the portfolio has ever had was right here, just recently with this signal, 32%. That shows how crazy this run is. This is the biggest run that the S&P has had, that the breadth has followed all year. And you can see even just in the past couple months, the breadth is up 68% since July. Yeah, 68% since July. If you traded the 3X ETF, you'd be up 68%. Pretty incredible. It's shocking, really. So that's something that I wanted to share. And if we look at the dashboard, right, so this is the S&P breadth. Look at it. It's just been up only. Even still now, it's still just like up only, no crosses, nothing. Just holding and heading higher. This is the crypto one. You can see how we broke down a bit, but it's concerning when the slow is embedded in 100. We've had that happen before, and it gave mixed signals. And you can see if I go down here to Bitcoin, here's the Bitcoin data. And Bitcoin is since December 2021. We've got a bit more data there. And you can see there's a lot of trades. We actually just crossed, I think, if I go here, let's not sum it, we'll count. We just hit 100 trades. So we've got 100 Bitcoin trades now. The question is, but you guys don't care about the trades. You're like, shut the fuck up about the trades. Tell me what the return is. So in the past couple months, we've got a lot of mixed signals. Look at this. Look at how many missed signals. So before we had a lot of green back in September, October. But sometimes the Bitcoin goes so crazy that it kind of messes up the indicator a little bit. But even with all these misses, the return, so let's not count this massive return here from October, 28%. If you took this trade, you would have made 28% because you would have been long and then rode it to 34,500 before it switched and you lost 7%. Let's not even count that one. Let's just say you joined November 3rd and you traded all the signals since November 3rd. You would still be up 3%. You'd be up 3%. Now, if you included this, you'd be up 31%. Let's take out this 7% loss, right? Let's say you joined on the November 12th. even with mostly incorrect signals where you got mixed up, you're still up 11%. Well, we just created this in the last 2 years. So, you know, I'm just sharing the results and I'm saying I'd be up 11%. I don't understand the point of the negativity. You don't have to sign up if you don't want to. I don't really care. It's just showing the current performance. So I updated this recently and it's 11.5%. Pretty good. Just wanted to update you guys. I don't know why, you know, Jackie feels the need to say that, because obviously if I had this 5 years ago, I probably might not be making these videos anymore. But we only had this for 2 years, and I've only personally been trading it for about 4 months, because before we didn't know about the performance. So I'm just trading it and also sharing. And I've told people in a year or two, if this continues, we are not going to be sharing or selling it anymore. We will probably start some type of fund. But right now is the chance to use it, and I'm sharing that it is incorrect multiple times. I don't understand the point of the negative comment, but that's fine. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys the updated performance, and that even though there's been a lot of incorrect signals, still overall there is a positive performance. That's all. All right, let's go to the after party. We'll talk about shitcoins and all these other things and have some fun. And I will see you guys. And if not, then I hope you guys have a great weekend. But if not, then I'll see you in the after party. All right, bye everybody.